Hello and welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my next review. Today I will be reviewing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Well, after watching this movie again, I can certainly say I understand the hash and put downs people have about this movie. Now, I've seen all the making of featurettes and behind the scenes stuff like that. They never intended it to turn out to be in your face like it is about these things, and it certainly does not help that Mark Patton is actually an open homosexual actor. But there's just a whole lot of homosexuality in this movie, and at times it tends to get a little uncomfortable. And I never realized how quick it does that until I watched the movie. It does it from the fucking get-go, from the very beginning. The character of Jesse is just comes across as literally he's literally way too feminine to be much of a man in the movie. It's so bad at times that you're like, well, why didn't they just go ahead and have Lisa's character be a boy and have Jesse's character be a woman? Because it actually wouldn't be much different. His girlfriend's more manly than he is. It's like, whoa. But that said, though, there are some things about A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, that I like. I like the concept of the movie, to where instead of Freddy haunting people in dreams and killing them in their sleep through nightmares and deep deprivation and stuff like that, Freddy is actually finding a way to physically use the body of someone to take over him through his dreamlike states, to where he can literally transform Jesse's body into him so he can kill people in harsh reality. I thought that's a very interesting conflict right there, a very interesting concept and idea, especially towards the end when you actually have, finally, it takes till the end for it to happen, but Jesse actually gets a little bit of manlyhood in him and actually has a symbiotic confrontation, kind of similar to Elliot Spencer and Pinheads in Hellraiser 3 with Freddy and him in sort of the same body. Finally, it takes it in the movie, but he finally does something manly. But yeah, I like the concept of the movie. I just think there's too much execution on gay, homosexual theology in the freaking movie for the main character. Now let's go on to the premise of the film. Taking place 5.5 years later after the events of A Nightmare on Elm Street, a new family moves into 1428 Elm Street, which would be the Walshes, with their son being Jesse Walsh, our main character, has been having nightmares about Freddy Krueger. And, well, he hears about the house. And right after he hears about what happened with Nancy and stuff like that, people rationalized it by saying that she went crazy and saw her boyfriend killed across the street, and our mom committed suicide, all that stuff, which is all not what actually happened. Of course, we know what happened. He starts to do things like sleepwalk, stuff like that, and Freddy keeps visiting him. He's trying to get him to try his glove on. He's has this little catchphrase, "Kill for me," and stuff like that. He's trying to get Jesse to release his mortality and let him take over. And when Jesse completely does not have any control due to his fear of Freddy, if Freddy takes over, Freddy starts committing very bizarre murders in real life. And all this stuff is happening, yes, this is where it gets weird, while Jesse is having confrontation with his own open sexuality. At least that's the way I look at it. There's just too much of it in the movie that did not mention it in the premise of the film. He does have this girlfriend, Lisa. He was played by a quite young and quite sexy Kim Myers at the time. Like I said, is more manly and more heroic than Jesse is in the movie. And Jesse eventually gets taken over completely by Freddy. And it's up to his girlfriend Lisa to get to Jesse and says, "Jesse, this is your body. You can take control. You can destroy him. Only you can," and stuff like that. And he comes to the final confrontation where Jesse bows out with Freddy for possession of his own body. And that's basically the easiest and quickest way to tell you the premise, but there's not really much beyond that to say about the premise of the movie anyways. It's a pretty simple movie that way, but with interesting concepts. Audio and video. The video of this one kind of seems like a 1980s nostalgic look, unlike the first movie. There's a lot of techno-color, a lot of bright colors and stuff like that in it. And that's basically how I kind of look at it. And it's definitely a interesting look to the movie. Because again, this one is more neutral color templated, but there's so much stuff on the movie that really works. And that's what I like about the picture. Picture is really good that way. Audio. This one has a pretty good solid 5.1 DTS HD Master Audio track, but it's not very different from the Dolby Digital 5.1 surround track that you had on the New Line Platinum Series DVD back in the day. The only one that really stood out differently from those would be the first film. But it still is quite a good experience theatrically. I say these films get a little bit more intensified with the sound once you get to part 4, because that's the first one that was originally receded in a surround mix of sorts. But yeah, there's a lot of good things I could say about the movie and a lot of bad things I could say about the movie. I would say that going into the different direction that they decided to take with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, you kind of get that sense of deja vu. No, you can't do that. There are rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I get that. I guess that's deja vu because they try to make their own little concepts of making something unique and original with Halloween 3: Season of the Witch in 1983. Sorry, take back 1982. And people didn't like that movie because it was different. People don't like this one because it's different. But in this film, I say they're more justified to not like the movie because of all the homosexual themes. They're straight in your freaking face. And that to me is annoying. Granted, I'm not racist against gay people, but to throw that into a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and pretty much make our main lead protagonist, which is a man, to act more like a typical corsaged female in a horror movie just doesn't sit right. And then of course having gay themes, and then we find out that the actor is actually gay. It's a little much, but it's still a good movie. I still recommend it. It's just keep all that in mind. Well, that's my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Do you like this video? Do you not like this video? As always, subscribe. Check back to me from time to time. Share this video with friends. Whatever you like. And I will see you guys next time for my review of Jason Libb's Friday the 13th Part 6. also known as my favorite of the Friday the 13th film series. And I will get into that when I get to that review. Until then, I will see you next time.